thirsty. First of all, I should just take this off, honestly, but you know, really don't feel like it. Kind of gross, I'm gonna admit. So I know that I've been gone for a while, and by a while, I mean July, August, September, October, November, December. It's been like 5 or 6 months, because I am a senior in high school, and school really kicked my butt this semester. You know, I was going through a lot, but I'm on semester break right now. And, you know, I just thought that it would be fun to just film a video, because I was like, I want to sit down and film a video, but I didn't know what to film. So I was just like in the bathroom, and I was like, how about I film a book recommendation video, because I've been trying to read like a lot recently, but I haven't been able to, and I have like a ton of books, and it's not even funny. I'll insert a clip of me like filming all of my books like here. So yeah, that's how many books I have. Totally a lot. To show you guys like the kind of books that like I like to read, and books that I think are really, really good, and that, you know, would be a nice read. Books that I think would be worth your time. The first book I'm going to recommend, well, it's a trilogy actually, and it is the Legend Trilogy by Marie Lu. This trilogy, I have all 3 books. It really had me gone. I've always wanted to read this trilogy, and we had it in my school's library, so I was like, yeah, I'll totally pick it up and I'll totally read it. And then I read the first book and I was obsessed, and then I read the second book, which is Prodigy, and I was more obsessed, and then I finally just bought Champion, which is the last book, and then I finished that one completely, cried, and then I bought all 3 books, and I've tried to reread them, not like in a I don't want to read it again, because it's a really good story. It's just, I was ready to like move on. Like, I'd cried enough. I'd let this book ruin my life enough. So I said, I'm not gonna let it ruin my life anymore. But I will eventually read it again, because it's such a good book. I love this trilogy so much. I even have all of the graphic novels for them. So I have a graphic novel for Legend, the graphic novel for Prodigy, and for Champion. This book series really, really had me like crying and junk. The second book that I'm going to recommend is a book that I read over the summer, and I found it at Walmart actually, and ignore this like stain up here. The person who did this stain knows who they are. It's A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. This book also had me like significantly messed up, as you can see from all of the sticky tab things, and like there's a bunch of like writing and highlighting. I'm gonna just be going in and out of focus so you can see what I'm talking about. But there's like lots of little notes that I've written in here. And I'm trying to find like a dense spot where I really wrote some stuff. Like here, I wrote, can't really see it that well, but I wrote, this book is getting increasingly sadder as the chapters go by. Because it did, it got really, really sad. But the story is really, really compelling, and it's really different. Like, the events in the story are really different, and it's told in 2 perspectives of Adam and Julian, who used to be foster brothers. but it's a really sad story. I'm just gonna be honest, like the ending, I didn't really care for the ending, but overall, like the build up is like, it's really good. I'm sorry if I'm not really explaining these books like correctly, because I suck at explaining things without going into too much detail. So, third book, Wreck, is the beginning of the beginning of everything by Robin Schneider. When I tell you, I love this freaking book. I love this book. Like this, I have read this book twice. The first time I read this book, I was in 9th grade, and it had me shook. I read it again, and it had me even more shook than the first time, because I read it first time in 9th grade, and then the second time I read it during the summer of 11th, so of June of this year. And I had forgotten like a lot of the details of like the tinier things that happen throughout the story, but I had remembered like the big overall, like Ezra, the main character, gets in an accident and he can't play tennis anymore, and then he meets this girl named Cassidy and they fall in love and all that kind of stuff. I remembered that, and that's what broke me, because the ending of this book also broke me, just like freaking Alyssa Cage's. This book is so good. Like, I love this book. It's such like a, it's funny, which is one thing that I love in books. Like, I love like humor, and when characters have like their own senses of humor. It's like when you have a character and it's like you've made them into a person, and everything that they say is something that they would say. Like, you no longer say or think, oh, it's an author writing this for a character. No, it's the character's thoughts and the character's sayings and the character's just personality. And that's what really happens in this book. Like, I forget that there's a person, Robin Schneider, like, I forget that she like wrote this book, because I feel like it's just like all of the characters, and it's such an amazing book. And I love Ezra Faulkner. He deserved better. That's all I'm gonna say. But Ezra Faulkner deserved better. Fourth book, I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. This book also made me cry. This is such a... Okay. I didn't put a rating in this one either. But this book also made me cry. Like, these books really make me... Like, books make me cry. Like, they make me increasingly sad. And... Okay. Back on topic. So, I'll Give You the Sun. This book is about two twins and just the culmination of their relationship over the years. So, it starts when they're like 13. So, the younger, he's not younger, they're twins. The twin boy, Noah, he tells all of the stories from when they are 13. And then Jude, the girl twin, tells all of the stories from when they are 16, which is the present. And I'm gonna be honest, this book is very Jude heavy, but it's them just experiencing life, and like, it's really about their relationship and the relationship that they have to rebuild with each other, because they, even on the back it says, at first, Jude and her twin brother are Noah and Jude, inseparable. Okay, years later they're barely speaking. So it's really about their relationship and the way that they build it back up through like all of these events that connect in the end. When I tell you that the events, the way that these events connected was so seamless. Like, I was sitting in the car reading it one day, and I got to the part where Jandy Nelson, she explains like how like this one guy freaking brings them back together as twins. I literally screamed. I was like, what? Like, oh my god, like how? And it was so seamless. It's not like it's, you know how in books it's like something happens and then you're like, oh yeah, okay, I noticed that they're gonna use that later. I did not know that was gonna be used later. So when it was used, I was like, genius. Like, actually genius. Fifth book is that I'm gonna recommend is I don't have the what are those things called, the like paper, because it's a hardcover. I don't have the paper on it, but this is this is upside down. That was great. This is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. This is another book that made me cry. I read this in 10th grade, 11th grade, and I've tried to reread it, but I don't want to put myself to the pain again. So yeah, that hurts. And because I haven't read it in such a long time, I'm trying to think of like a synopsis. It's about these two teenagers, Finch, his name is Theodore, but Finch and Violet, and they meet on top of the like bell tower at their school because Finch is about to like jump. And then Violet is sitting up there, I think. But they meet, and then they also build a relationship, and they go out, and then the end is just like my heart. I'm not gonna spoil it, but all of these books that I mentioned here, by the way, you could Google to find the synopsises, because I'm not good at giving synopsises without like spoiling it, because I almost spoiled this book. So I would Google everything that I'm talking about right now. But it's called All the Bright Places. It's by Jennifer Niven. It is this book called Scythe, and this book is actually so good. Like, at first I was reading it and I was like, okay, when is it gonna kind of pick up? But it started to pick up, and I'm kind of shook because I'm not even halfway through it yet, and it's already kind of popping off. So a scythe in the post-apocalyptic world is just a person that goes around killing people because death has been eradicated, and like you can't die by old age, can't die by disease, you have to be killed by a scythe. And these two teenagers are apprentices to one of these to a scythe, and they're competing to see who is going to be the scythe. But the whole gag of the story is that only one of them can be a scythe, because scythes usually don't apprentice to people. So the scythe has to choose one of them to be the scythe, and then the other one has to die. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna go. There's also a second book to this one called the Thunderhead. Put that here, but I'm still stuck on this first one. So that was my pretty sporadic video. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you want to read these books. I'm sorry that I give like horrible synopsises, but I still hope that maybe my passion for talking about the books inspired you to want to read them. I'm not very sure, but yeah, so thank you for watching this video. I hope to be back I hope to be back very soon with new content, because 2019, new year, same me, but just hopefully more fulfilling and more productive and more creative and things like that. So thank you for watching. And I hope you're having a great day. And I love you. Boop. And I will see you all in my next video, whenever that may be. So here is the first round of books. We have All the Bright Places, The Beginning of Everything, Roomies, which I haven't read yet, Paper Towns, Crimes of the Sarahs, Vanishing Girls, and I'll Give You the Sun. And over here, we have Ready Player One, which I didn't even mention. I love this freaking book, so that's another one I would recommend, Ready Player One. Then we have Extraordinary Means, One of Us is Lying, the Life's a Witch trilogy, Deluxe, The Merciless, The Program, Rites of Passage, A List of Cages, and The Probability of Miracles. So these are more books over here. And we have some books on the floor here, which are most of the ones that I mentioned. And we have the Hairstyles album. But most of the books I mentioned are here on the floor. And then we go over here. And this is the stack of books that I keep my phone on when I record. So How to Break a Boy, the book I mentioned, is right here. And then we have more books here. The entire Click series right there. A hole punch, some sheet music, a plastic bag. Some books down here. You see the selection. These books. There's some more books back here. Yep, books back there. Then we have books up here. So all of these. Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. The Truth About Anxiety and Depression. Not my book. School's book. Maze Runner, some other books in there. We have some Percy Jackson back there. Some books here. A play, some writing. Books there. Lift up this paper here. Illuminae, A Kiss in Time, which is a really good book. And even the books don't stop there. We have in here, this little nook here, we have some books in here. So if I move this stuff down, don't let it fall, just move it down. We have an iPhone box, and then we have Bad Girls Don't Die series, Red Queen, and I think I have more books. Yep, I have the Maze Runner back there. I have Burn for Burn. I have so many books. Okay. Yeah, I'll take these out real quick. Okay. We have that Meg Cabot book, and then we have Red Queen. And then we have the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy, Burn for Burn, Maze Runner, A Book I Need to Return to My School, The List, Messy Spoiled. And then we have, like I mentioned, the last book in the Bad Girls Don't Die. So I have a lot of books here, as you can see. My room is a mess, but yeah, I have a lot of books. So